each and every one, and welcome to Soul Sessions. I am your host, Lewis King, and I want to thank you for joining me on today. And today's Soul Session will deal with no trespassing into my territory. Now, trespass, historically it involves like six separate trespasses, and I am going to use this particular word in relation to dealing with building a relationship with self, building a relationship with self. And according to law and things to deal with the legal system, trespasses were broken up into like six separate individual trespasses, which involve threats, assault, battery, wounding, mayhem, and maiming. Um, and through the different jurisdictions and all of this stuff, I want to focus primarily on three of these particular trespasses, as well as a few other things that deal with building a personal relationship with ourselves and understanding where you and I are at in our life as an individual. Um, Today I'm going to talk about a threat. I want to talk about assault. I want to talk about battery. Those particular three things right there: threat, assault, and battery. And to help us better understand this particular section right here that I want to go into now is dealing with self-inflicted crimes committed against ourselves. Self-inflicted crimes committed against ourselves. And a threat is a statement of intention to inflict pain, injury, or a hostile action on someone in retribution for something that the person has done or not done. And when I think about this, how many countless times have we as individuals have caused ourselves pain or injury, or done something hostile? I mean, just due, to the deep brokenness in our heart, in our mind, and in our soul. I mean, many of us, we are literally a threat to ourselves. It's one thing for another person to be a threat to you as an individual, but it is a major thing when we live with ourselves 24 hours a day, one day at a time, hopefully 7 days a week, 30 to 31 days a month, 52 weeks out of a year, 12 months out of a year, 365 days. And sometimes, due to the things that are going on from our brokenness, from our experiences, we can literally be a walking, living threat to ourselves day in and day out. Sometimes we can be more of a threat and a danger to ourselves than the likelihood of getting robbed or being carjacked. Now that may sound kind of crazy, but it very much can be true. We can be that much of a threat. Also along with unaddressed pain from years ago, going all the way back. And we have talked about this in the previous soul sessions. But unaddressed pain from years ago, going all the way back to the childhood. Dark secrets. All of us have some dark stuff that nobody else knows about but you and God, not unless we shared it with another person. But all of us have, I'm talking about some really, really dark secrets, some things that maybe we may have done that we do not want anyone else to know. Some things that maybe even we have made up in our mind that I would just take this to the grave because I never want to disclose this. I never want this known. And whether you disclose it to anyone, the thing of it is, what about disclosing it to God? Unaddressed pain from years ago to even deal with family secrets. There are things that have happened in um, many of our families. Things that have happened in my family, maybe things that have happened in your family. Family secrets, I mean, wherein, things have, um, things have been suppressed, blocked out because these things, they are considered so traumatic that these things have caused the dysfunction we have lived day in and day out. Just literally affecting our quality of life to the extent that every area of our life has flatlined. It's like if you hooked up a defibrillator or tried to shock us back to life. I mean, our dysfunction and the things that are piled on top of us has literally caused our life in many areas to literally flatline. We are just at a state of existing. Existing. And that is not a good place to be, a good place to live, wherein we're just existing. The next thing I want to address is assault. Now, assault defined, it deals with when an attempt is made to initiate harmful, offensive contact with a person. Now, some of the synonyms for assault is attack, hit, punch, beat. These are familiar words we have initiated as individuals on different occasions, even against ourselves, from our different life experiences. Wherein we have beat up on ourselves so many times for bad choices, bad decisions. Sometimes even hooking up, allowing the wrong people in our life, giving so much of ourselves to takers. I mean, takers in your family, takers who you thought were your friends, takers in personal relationships, just giving all of yourself to others, and then being left to feel like my value to these persons, this group of people, these individuals I have connected with, these individuals I have allowed within my private space, the proximity of my space. It's like my value to them is worth nothing. So, you and I, we can find ourselves attacking ourselves, beating ourselves up mentally, beating ourselves up emotionally, beating ourselves up physically. I mean, sometimes even, turning to substances to console, our mind, from the anger, the hurt, only to find that the substances are just a quick fix to help you escape for the moment. The reality is facing what's in our soul that's traveling everywhere that you and I go, and reminding you and I, you can't run from the pain, you can't escape the pain, you can't get high enough to zone yourself out of the pain, but you can face the darkness of night inside of yourself through the source, our creator, through the power of the Almighty God. That's where it starts. Next, I want to address battery. What is battery? Battery is classified as a criminal offense involving the unlawful physical acting upon a threat. Battery is a criminal offense involving the unlawful physical acting upon a threat. Nowhere in our creation has our Creator given us permission to take matters, into our own hands to act against ourselves in a negative, harmful way. Wherein we not only can threaten to kill ourselves physically and try to carry it out. But we also can be suicidal. We can kill ourselves socially from connecting with toxic people. Doing things that destroy our reputation, our name, our character, and the list goes on. I mean, we can also, carry out things that harm and destroy us, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, sexually. I mean, so many different areas. I mean, when we are in a vulnerable place from, our deep-seated hurts and wounds, how many times have you and I found ourselves at a place in life when we have reached a crossroad of indifference? When we honestly reached that place where we didn't care if we lived or died. It's possible even today, even right now, this very moment, this can be you, wherever you are in this world, whatever time zone, whatever state, whatever nation, whatever neighborhood, whatever community that you live in, on your job, in your car, this could be you, wherein you have reached the end of your rope. You have reached the end of your rope, and you have literally said and verbalized it and made a proclamation. I don't care anymore. I mean, I'm done, man. I am done. And many people have enacted battery against others. I mean, we hear all about, domestic violence and, things that go on, between persons, where one person may want to do harm to another person, wherein they want to carry out the threat. They want to literally act upon it. But it is amazing we can commit domestic violence against ourselves day in and day out, beating ourselves up, torturing ourselves. I mean, just doing all of these things. I mean, to a place where when a person get to a place of indifference, indifference is a cancer. It is a poison. It is something that is so detrimental and so self-destructive that if a person ever get to the end of their rope where you do not care, you do not care if you live or if you die, you do not care who you hurt, you do not care who you use, you do not care who you take from, you do not care who suffer the repercussions, of your pain. You do not care. If you lose everything, you do not care how you look. You do not care. How you dress. You do not care how you present yourself. You have reached the end of your rope. When a person finds themselves at that point, that is one of the most dangerous places to be in, because the next step is my life that the Creator gave me, that God gave me. This breath in my body means nothing. My mind, my brain means nothing. My emotions mean absolutely nothing. So I do not care who I use and who I hurt, and I do not care, who do whatever to me, because nothing matters. But still, it matters to God, because you have a great purpose beyond what you see, beyond the pain, beyond all of the things that you have experienced, you still have purpose. You still have purpose. This next part I want to talk about deals with imprisonment. Imprisonment. Imprisonment, during times of war, there were people that was called POWs. Now, a POW, that just simply an acronym for a prisoner of war. And, a POW could be a person who was combative or a combatant, or non-combative or a non-combatant, who is held in custody of an aggressive confrontational power. The things you and I have not addressed in our life beneath the surface has caused some of us, or many of us, to become a hostage, a captive, a prisoner of war to our own pain. And we have been held in that place of torture for a long time, living our life like we're literally on death row, without parole, locked up in a cell, asking ourselves and wondering, will I ever get out of this place and things ever get better in my life? It's something to be locked up in your cell, in the cell of your pain. And our pain, is like a terrorist that's holding you hostage, and it talks to you day in and day out that, hey, you're going to die from this. But when you and I discover today that we have had the key to our release out of the cell that we have been locked in for days or weeks or months or years, or 5 years or 10 years or 15 years or 20 years, plus, when we discover that we've had the key to our release out of that cell, but you and I, at times, we chose to use the keys we thought would unlock the door that never worked, you and I would be amazed that key that we didn't think would work, that we didn't think would unlock the lock that had the words on it, I am your source, that unlocks all of your cell doors. We would be amazed when we turn ourselves back to the source who knows how to unlock all of our prison doors. It's something, there are prisoners of war, and many times from times of war and nations fighting against nations, and prisoners of war, during times of war, world wars and different things like that. It is amazing. There are prisoners of war many times right within our own right within our own houses, and our amongst our families. There are prisoners of war from people who we know as friends that we're connected to. There are prisoners of war of people we work with on the job. There are prisoners of war of the people that live in the neighborhood and the communities that we live in. This is also rather amazing yet true. Even for the millions of people that go to places of worship, the person who sits on the pew beside you, sometimes it could be the leadership, the pastor or the bishop or the apostle, the teacher or the evangelist, the prophet, sometimes the deacon, sometimes, the elder, maybe the church mother, maybe the choir director, maybe the minister of music. It might, it may be a young person, it may be a child, it may be that woman, it may be that man, that husband, that wife. The person sitting on the pew who you just worshiped with, even maybe this past Sunday or the last time you was in a church service or a worship service. That person who you see, who may smile on the outside, and that smile can be a facade for things that may blow your mind and my mind. That person could be a prisoner of war. And we see each other, and we talk to each other, and we can speak to each other. Hey, how you doing? How you doing, sister? Oh, I'm blessed and I'm highly favored. We have the lingo down and say the right words and the right phrases and the cliches and all of these things. But yet, that person, after they have sung one of the best worship songs or praise songs or prayed the most powerful prayer or preached the most dynamite sermon or whatever, that person, can be a prisoner of war of something you and I have absolutely no clue. As well as you and I could be a prisoner of war that they have absolutely no clue about. This last part I want to talk about today is dealing with regret. Regret is the shackles that keep you and I locked in solitary confinement to the choices, decisions, and experiences we wish we could change and do over totally in a different way. Yet, knowing it's impossible, for us to, you and I to go back into our past and to change things. Regret reminds me of this. Regret is like a slavery whip that lashes away at every part of your being until it has beat you down so bad. The only thing that is left for us to do, you and I, we can find ourselves, we can submit, succumb, acclimate, and literally adapt to the place of hurt and pain we're stuck in that has our life locked in a box. I want to ask this question. How many times have you and I found ourselves going through the shoulda, coulda, woulda syndrome? Many of us have been there. I mean, I know I have. I say, yet the thing that is powerful to know is this. When we can learn to accept and take responsibility and accountability, and I can tell you this, it takes God to help you get there, because on our own, we can't do it. But when we can accept and take responsibility and accountability that I can't change absolutely nothing concerning what happened on yesterday, because yesterday is gone. But yet, today, I am empowered to start standing up to myself. No matter how dark, how deep, how low, how dirty, how wrong the thing or the things I did or experienced. Something else about regret. Regret can suck us down like quicksand. I asked this question on today. I remember this part. I remember this part of the lyrics from the song, the Cha-Cha Slide. In the song it says, how low can you go? No matter how much we sink, how low, God can get lower than any of our issues, hurt, pain, and the love of God is the source and the rope that will and can always pull us out of any place or any grave. Any grave. No matter what's going on, we have to open ourselves up to a place where we have to be willing to want to move past living our life in the graveyard. We have to. When I think about this particular topic, no trespassing into my territory, you know, many of us, and that includes myself, but many of us have used this phrase, when addressing another person that you and I feel is coming at us the wrong way. And what we sometimes we may say, well, hey, this person is coming at me sideways. I, you know, I ain't feeling all that, and I know that's bad grammar. But the phrase many times when people come at us in an incorrect way is, don't go there. Don't go there. Have you noticed we check people who come at us incorrect? I want each of us to think about this before I end this soul session on today. And I am sure we can recall individually, times when, certain persons came at us incorrect or trespassed into our territory. Like they had entitlement rights. I said, yet how many times can you ever recall God coming at you and I in an incorrect way? The same way, this is something I want us to think about. The same way we can check each other for coming, incorrect, it is even possible as God's creation that we can even check God for coming at us correct, to just love on us in our state of being broken, in our state of sometimes we are just devastated. In the place where we have experienced, some of us, a psychotic break or a nervous breakdown. Things were just that bad. The pressure and everything, wherein we checked out of reality for the moment, whether it was a short term or a long term situation. But we checked out because we just lost grip on life, the pressure, the stuff inside of us. Many of us, we have experienced our days and nights having those episodes of crying, where we just feel, I can't deal or face another day. I just can't do it. Many of us, we have found ourselves, we have lived like the man in the tombs that met the Lord. We have lived in the isolation of our pain for so long, abusing our mind, our body, our soul. I said, yet today can be a brand new day or the first day of your life to experience a resurrection in your life. The Greek word for resurrection in the New Testament, one of the Greek words is anastasis. And that just simply means recovery, rising again, or to cause to stand up on one's feet again. Many of us have been knocked down for so long to the extent that we have forgotten what it's like to stand on our own 2 feet. And it's time to experience what it is like to stand on your own 2 feet, standing in the love and the strength and the support of God as we go through our recovery process of the wholeness of building a relationship with ourselves. This is Lewis King for Soul Sessions on today. I thank you for joining me, and may you have a blessed and awesome day. And until next time, keep working and do not be afraid to face yourself. Take care.